Good afternoon. Oh, it's afternoon here. I'm not sure where you're watching from. It might be morning, it might be in the middle of the night for you. It's 3:30 in the afternoon here, daylight savings time in Australia. Today we're playing with the Wintry Treetops bundle, which is a set of stamps and matching dies that can be used by themselves, each of them, or together. And obviously some of the shapes in the dies are designed to cut out these images. We've got some lovely greetings that can be used all year round, and the papers also lend themselves to a Christmas theme. We're going to be creating a Christmas themed card using this, I guess it's a bough of foliage. We're going to stamp it a couple of times and link it up to form our own wreath. So it will look like a Christmas wreath. We're using the traditional red and green and using a couple of new products that you may not have seen before. So let's get started. I have here the cardstock that I'm using, which is going to be, I guess, the background of my card. And I've created a little template. So let me just show you how I did that. I've used the Wintry Treetops die and just cut out what would normally be used as the surround and kept the middle part of that die. So that, in fact, is going to become my template. And I'm just going to place it right in the middle of this basic white piece. It's a little bit smaller than a card front. So it's going to be layered a couple of times on the card front. I'm using a blending brush and garden green ink, and I'm just going to come in being a little bit careful because this one has been used before, so I'm sort of working from the inner area outwards so that I don't crease up my template. Sometimes it gets a little bit wet with ink depending on how many people are using it, but I just want to get that lovely detail of the leaves, and I'll show you what I mean. Because I'm putting ink in the relief area, I'm swirling it in. You will see those lovely leaf shapes take effect once I move this away. So you can see now we have our background. So it's going to be a landscape card, landscape orientation. So I will pop it right there. Next, what I'm going to do is stamp the bow from the stamp set. So it's this one here up in the top left-hand corner. And it is actually a little bit larger than what is pictured on the stamp case. So it creates a nice big wreath. But we can maneuver it so that it will be the right size for our card, depending on where we decide to stick it down. So I'm actually using StazOn, the jet black StazOn, for this next part, and I'm going to stamp this this bow or bough 3 times in StazOn. You want to stamp it 3 times because you need to have 6 of the sections to work with. Some of the boughs you might leave whole, and others we're going to cut in the middle, sort of around some of the berries there, so that we can use them to create our circle shape a little bit more easily. And just also have the leaves and the branches going in slightly different directions. And I'll show you what I mean. There it is, stamped on basic white. Now I've also got some old olive ink. So I've used I'm using 2 different greens so far, and then I'm going to bring in a 3rd green in a second. But for the old olive, what I just want to do is use the largest colour wash brush for making like a colour wash over the whole bow. And I've squeezed some extra ring inker into my old olive lid so that I've got plenty of ink to work with. I'm going to squeeze a little bit more water in there just so it's nice and runny. So see, you want it just so it's flowing quite easily. And then you're just going to brush over the top so that you've got a fairly random evenness of ink. And you want some darker and some lighter bits, and that's okay. It's actually okay to leave some white bits for where you're going to cut it out, and that's okay too, because that'll add a little bit of a contrast to the images. And then what I like to do is give them a bit of a squirt with my heat tool before I cut them out. So I would do that. I'm not going to do that here because I've already got one that I prepared earlier. So there's my original one. I'll leave that other one over there to dry. Now you can see we've got some of that detail still to enhance. So I'm going to get one of the other water painters, sorry, one of the thinner ones, and I'm using some shaded spruce ink this time. Just give that a squeeze so that you've got a little pool of ink in the lid. You don't need much. And the idea with this one is that you are going to just colour in the leaves. So you pick up a little tiny bit of that ink, and then you just roughly colour in those little leaves, just so they contrast a little bit with the background and accentuate the shape. Now what you don't want to do is colour in the berries. You actually would want to leave the berries as is, because we're going to add some colour to those, some real red, Pearlized Enamel Effects to those, so that they will stand up a little bit and they'll look a little bit 3D, and they'll actually look like real berries. So you get the idea. And once you've coloured all those in, you're going to use the corresponding die to cut them out. So you'll use this bow-shaped die, just so that you get all of those fiddly leaves all cut out and ready to go. And then you are ready to assemble your wreath. So I actually would leave 2 of them whole like that, and then I'm going to cut the middle, cut the third one just in the middle, and I'll just halve the berries. So I'll put 3 berries on this side, and I'll leave 2 berries on the other side. Just get rid of any pointy bits if you don't like the look of them, if they're not going to be hiding underneath something. And so you've actually got 2 bits out of the one, and then that allows us to arrange them in a way that completes our wreath. So you sort of get the idea. Now it's much easier to put your wreath together when you don't have those red berries already on and that you're waiting for them to dry. You actually don't want to do the Pearlized Enamel Effects straight away. So I'm just going to get these off, and I'll adhere the first couple, which is the 2 double ones, and then it'll be easy to adhere the other ones. So you really can decide how big or small you would like your wreath and how many fronds you're going to be using on it, because it's your card. You might want to make your wreath a little bit more compact, a little bit smaller, or you might want to make it larger if you're making a larger card. You could even cut more of these images out with your die, and basically it's up to you. And I like the versatility of it, because it's not like it is a wreath to start with, so you've got the option for changing the size and the design of your wreath depending on how you cut it out and also how you arrange it on your final project. So I'm just going to put those 2 there sort of at a diagonal like that. That's reasonably in the middle, and then I'm going to come in, because these are already supported, I'm going to come in just with a little bit of glue and pop these in. So the idea is that you'll be still seeing some of the berries, so the berries won't have disappeared, and the ones that are visible we're actually going to colour in using our enamel effects, our real red ones. So these ones are just glued on because the rest of the wreath is sitting up on dimensionals. Just hold that there for a second if you're using your Tombow. So I'm pretty happy with that. I like how natural that wreath looks, and see how it contrasts really nicely with the background. Now we've got our Pearlized Enamel Effects. Now this comes in the real red, the white, and the black. So you can colour in things like reindeer noses with the black. You can colour in Santa's boots, for example, with the black. But this is how it works. You have a really, really thin nozzle, and you don't need to squeeze too hard to get it out. you'll just want to put a small dot in the middle of each of those berries. And this will take, I would do all of it while I was there, but I've got one I prepared earlier that I'm going to show you. This will take around half an hour to an hour to dry, depending on, it'll be touch dry, but overnight it hardens and you get these lovely, lovely little berries that are actually 3D and they're shiny and pearly. So that really stands out against the background of the wreath. I've got two different ribbons here. I've got our cherry cobbler and gold satin ribbon, and I've got some of our garden green twine, or is it mossy meadow? I can't remember, but anyway, it's in our new catalogue. And you can, or actually might be, yes, it is in the new catalogue, with this suite, in fact. And I've tied them both together just to give you a little bit of added texture. I've mounted it all on top of the shaded spruce card, and it's sitting on a cherry cobbler card base. So that is our card. I'm going to put all of the details, all of the ingredients that I use down the bottom of this video with links to my online store if you'd like to use this card as inspiration for your own Christmas crafting. Please do. I hope you have fun with it, and thanks for watching. Bye.